Resident Evil Requiem just got some exciting news. The dust has barely settled from the massive pre-order announcement, and already everyone is asking the same thing: when are we getting more? Now, it is worth mentioning that Capcom did throw us a bone with the Road to Requiem video featuring the incredible Maggie Robertson, where they confirmed the pre-orders were live. They showed off the Steelbook editions, the Digital Deluxe, and some of the new costumes and charms and skins that will be available for pre-purchasing. But here's where things get interesting. During that video, Maggie Robertson and Capcom told us to expect a deeper dive into the madness of Resident Evil Requiem at the dedicated Resident Evil showcase in early 2026. With the game releasing on February 27th, 2026, waiting until next year for the next big trailer feels so far away. It's leaving me with this like completely massive gap of silence right when the hype should be building. Are we in for a long and quiet winter? Capcom told us not to expect a deep dive until early 2026, but what if I told you the next trailer is coming much sooner than you think? Well, today we're going to dive into all of the evidence that points to a surprise reveal at the Game Awards this year that could finally answer the biggest question in the Resident Evil community: is Leon Kennedy actually in this game? Guys, we have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's dive in. So jumping straight into things, let's be really clear. This entire situation is honestly classic Capcom marketing mystery. On one hand, you got the pre-orders that are starting and all of the hype that's been generated from those editions getting revealed. We got the Lady D costume for Grace, which I absolutely love. But overall, the Digital Deluxe edition for this game has a lot of people like really questioning what is going on here. Is there a greater mystery with the Digital Deluxe? I don't really think so. And then at the other end of the spectrum, they're basically telling us to kind of pump the brakes and wait until next year for a real update and a deeper dive into the madness. Things just kind of feel off. I mean, we are just a few months away from the release, and it feels like we've seen very little of this game. In fact, we really haven't seen anything with this game. I mean, judging by like the image of Grace Ashcroft with the gun, with the large magazine on it, like, come on, dude. Like, we know that there's a lot of stuff to unpack. And if Grace is wielding around that type of weapon, I don't think we've seen anything for this game. Now, the silence from Capcom has created a bit of a vacuum, and that vacuum has been filled by one colossal and game-changing rumor that seems to never go away, despite people, still thinking that he's not in the game, even though I think he is. And that is the return of Leon S. Kennedy. For months on this channel, before the game has been even officially shown, insiders and leakers have been saying that Leon is a central character. He is one of the protagonists. And all of this hit the fever pitch when a supposed leak from the PlayStation Portugal store claimed that one of the Digital Deluxe items was a Leon costume, a DSO special agent that was featured in it. Now, this supposed leak was highly questionable. I saw it on Twitter like the second it happened, and I was like, okay, people, like, this is Inspect Element. It's clearly Inspect Element, but the idea itself has completely taken over the community. Like, everyone and their mother was running with this story that PlayStation Portugal leaked the Leon Kennedy's existence. I mean, there's a lot of people that are desperate for confirmation, just to have Capcom plug their ears and say, hey bro, just wait until 2026. And by them saying that, it really doesn't seem like a real strategy to kind of handle this much hype. I genuinely think that Capcom is probably loving this. They're probably scrolling Twitter and they're just like knowing full well that Leon is in the game. And they're like, let's see what kind of crazy cope they're dealing with today. And it just so happens that there's another schizo post of someone saying that Leon is confirmed, even though it's just some shady source. All while you have the developers who are like probably freaking out that Leon is, in the game, and they don't want people to know, to not spoil the surprise, but they're probably like, okay, they know, but we're not going to say anything and just let them just completely consume themselves. And, I won't lie, I've been consumed by it as well, but I think we just have to kind of look at things pragmatically. Is he going to be in the game? Most likely. Will the developers tell us no chance? But again, I do think that that's for good reason, and that's because of a little event happening next month. So I'll just come out and say it. Why do I think that we're getting a reveal at the Game Awards? Because, well, we've seen Capcom do this before. The Game Awards, which is always in early December, is the industry's biggest stage for end of the year announcements. It really is the perfect place to drop a bombshell that will carry the hype all the way through the holidays. Capcom has a history here as well. Just last year at the Game Awards 2024, they dropped the announcements for a new new Onimusha game and a sequel to Okami, which proves that they see the value in Jeff Keighley's stage. I'm sure that Jeff Keighley also is like, please let us have something at this showcase. And Capcom knows how to take over a news cycle, and having something at the Game Awards is a great place to do it. Now I'd like to take a look at how they market Resident Evil specifically. Think back to the lead up to Resident Evil Village. There were multiple leaked marketing documents that showed off a whole plan with trailers, demos, and videos all spaced out to build momentum, which yeah, they had their own showcases, but they also utilized big industry events for other reveals. I mean, just look at Summer Game Fest. That's when they revealed Resident Evil Requiem the first time as well. So applying that logic here in early 2026 showcase makes perfect sense for a final deep dive of the game, but it also leaves a huge hole in the marketing calendar right now. So a major trailer at the Game Awards won't mess up their marketing plan for the 2026 showcase. If anything, it's only going to complement it. It's the perfect event to kind of bridge the gap between the October pre-order launch and the final marketing push happening next year. Now, history also tells us that Capcom likes a steady like drip feed of content, and going completely silent from October when the pre-orders launch to January or even February would be a move that would be pretty uncharacteristic, and I just don't think they would do that, especially with Requiem being a massive game for them. It's supposedly going to be the end of a story and the beginning of a story, which is set to usher a new generation for Resident Evil, and I just don't think they'd be willing to go that long without any news. It just doesn't make sense to me. So now let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is the Leon Kennedy rumors. At this point, they're more than just fan theories. They are a core part of the story around Resident Evil Requiem. It all started with claims from the insider known as Dusk Golem, who has been saying for months, even before we even saw the game, that Leon is a main playable character alongside our new protagonist, Grace Ashcroft. And after the questionable and pretty fake PlayStation Store leak started making the rounds, people have begun to question Dusk's own claims. He responded directly on Twitter, stating that while he can't vouch for that specific leak, he did cover it. He was standing by his original information. He reiterates that Leon is a main protagonist in the game alongside Grace, calling it a waiting game for him for the official reveal. He also left a disclaimer, like he does on every post, that he doesn't know Capcom's marketing strategy, but he wanted to share the information that he had. Which you could talk about Dusk Golem's credibility all you want. I totally understand those takes, but he has been saying for months at this point, before the game even was revealed, that Leon is in it, and you know, until he's not officially, I still believe that he is in the game. But the big question of when is he going to be revealed is the critical question. A reveal of this scale, like, it is pretty massive, bringing back one of the series' most iconic heroes for the first new mainline game since Resident Evil 6, obviously not counting the incredible RE4 remake, isn't just something that you announce in a blog post. Honestly, it's an event. And if they don't do it in a trailer, then I don't want them to do it like on Twitter or anything like that. It's either gotta be at the Game Awards, or they just say nothing and let it be revealed in the game. Like, something like this will be a show-stopping, internet-breaking moment, even though at this point it is one of the worst-kept secrets in gaming. But what bigger stage is there to do it on than the Game Awards? Announcing Leon's return would instantly make Resident Evil Requiem one of the most talked about games of the entire year. Capcom is sitting on a potential marketing nuke right here. They've been fairly silent on the rumors, which is pretty telling. If they completely deny it again, they kill all the buzz. If they confirm it too early, they spoil the surprise. And honestly, I'm standing by it again. The perfect time to set this thing off is at a massive event like the Game Awards, where it can have the biggest impact possible. This thing also, like, you know, sparks the hype for the future showcase. There's some people that only know Resident Evil for Leon Kennedy, so if they just announce it at the biggest stage yet and convince so many people in the entire world to buy the game, and then lead it up with a Resident Evil showcase that's a deep dive, showing off brand new gameplay, not of the same gameplay we've seen, give us some Leon Kennedy gameplay, it just makes sense. That's why I'm standing on it. The Game Awards 2025 will have a Leon reveal. If it doesn't, I will eat a sock. But you really just have to look at the logic of the timeline. The game comes out on February 27th, 2026. Pre-orders went live at the end of October. That is a 4-month window. Waiting until 2026 for the next major news beat feels like leaving a ton of potential marketing on the table, especially during the holiday season. It would just be dumb. Think of it like this. Act 1 was the reveal and pre-order launch, and then Act 2 would be the shocking trailer at the Game Awards, maybe showing off Leon, or at the very least more of Raccoon City, and the combat focused gameplay that we can assume based on Grace's weapon that she's holding. And this would then set the stage perfectly for Act 3, which is the deep dive Resident Evil showcase in January or early February, where they can break down all the gameplay and then give us some more story details. But that's just my theory pieced together from Capcom's history, the massive Leon rumor, and the marketing potential. But now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you think we'll see a Resident Evil Requiem trailer at the Game Awards? Let me know down below. Do you guys think the Leon rumors are true? Do you believe the PlayStation Portugal supposed quote unquote leak? Now, of course, the Game Awards trailer is just speculation. Capcom could stick to their word and make us wait until 2026 for that deep dive. But all of the signs are there pointing to a big night in December, and I really hope it happens, whether it's a full gameplay trailer, a Leon reveal, or even just a teaser of a Leon reveal. I do believe we're going to be seeing something from Resident Evil Requiem sooner than we think. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.